Good morning. Thank you all for coming out and giving us an opportunity to reach out and speak to the public. Today we're calling you out as a byproduct of looking at things that's been occurring in this community when it comes to our burglary unit, our burglary apprehension team, and some of the different things that they've been taking on in this community. To begin with, for those who are not familiar, our burglary apprehension team has been around for several years now. It was developed with the mindset of going after residential burglars who were causing an increase in that crime pattern for this entire county. There's been an enormous amount of success, and today I brought with me our lieutenant, sergeant, and one of our lead detectives who work in this unit to really give the community a better understanding about what's occurring and a new trend that we are undertaking here in terms of reducing crime related to burglary and theft and things of that nature. Just to give you all a ballpark figure about some of the things that this unit has been able to do and have success over the last year, in 2020 we conducted roughly 174 arrests related to either burglaries or some form of theft. In addition, roughly 69 stolen vehicles were recovered here in Broward County. That equates to roughly $4.3 million in property. So as you can see, the work that these men and women are doing in this unit is immense, and it most certainly impacts not only the crime patterns, but the recovery aspect of getting the community back stolen goods has been significant. And with any crime, we always have the association that there's a good chance we may encounter firearms. That's part of the risk that we have in this profession. Our men and women accept that, and we get out in the field and do our job regardless. But I have to say, within all those arrests, we've even confiscated 17 firearms. Fortunately, we have not seen any major shooting incidents related to some of these operations. But I think it speaks to the nature of the threat that truly exists. And so why are we here today? Why are we standing here amongst you all talking about some of the success that's occurred within the burglary apprehension team? It's really because of a new pattern that they've been dealing with. You know, the residential burglary, the commercial burglaries has been declining since 2018. But our men and women in this unit has not sat idly by and ignored any other issues. We're now seeing an issue that our BAT team has undergone and taken very seriously with high-end vehicles being stolen here in Broward County. A multitude of vehicles ranging from Porsches, Range Rovers, McLarens, and other high-end vehicles are continuing to be targeted by the exact same individuals who would traditionally conduct burglaries. And so these men and women here have put forth a very stringent exercise to go out and engage and apprehend these individuals, but we need your help. We need the community's help with this. Oftentimes we're seeing a pattern that most of these vehicles are being stolen because keys to the cars are being left inside the vehicles. Key fobs are being left inside of the vehicles. Property, whether it be gym materials, laptop computers, etc., are being left inside of the vehicles. And so this is allowing these criminals to engage, start out looking and assessing these vehicles, and then noticing that they have an opportunity to not only steal the property within a vehicle, but let's take the vehicle as well. And so this has been a significant change in culture for our BAT team. They will still be focused on the residential burglaries, but right now, paying attention to the crime patterns, paying attention to that which threatens this community, this is a significant project that we're working on. And what I'd like to do for a moment is pause, allow Lieutenant Mealy to come up and speak a little bit about how this transition is occurring, what's taking place with under his unit, and then we also have Sergeant Marks here who would do the same.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Jeff Mellies, M-E-L-L-I-E-S. I am in charge of the BAT unit, along with the Viper unit and CST. As the sheriff stated, the unit started several years ago because of the influx in residential burglaries to Broward County. The unit's success was so dramatic that it drove the residential burglary numbers down to a percentage that we now had to morph and look for new things to combat. One of the things that happened when the residential burglaries went down, we saw a dramatic increase in auto thefts and vehicle burglaries. Traditionally, what would happen would be you'd have a carload of people that would come up into specific communities. They would get out and they would target different sections of the street. They can go through an entire community in less than 10 minutes, checking for unlocked car doors and things of that nature. What we found during this time frame is that they were very successful only because we as a community were not doing our due diligence. That means we were not locking our doors, we were leaving valuables, Rolexes, watches, purses, cell phones, jewelry inside the cup holders, along with firearms, which was a big to-do. So in early last year, myself and Sergeant Marks got together along with Detective Merrill here, and we decided to kind of reinvent the mission statement of the BAT unit, and we started targeting some of these high-end auto thieves and high-end property crimes. And as you can see by the statistics, this unit knocked it out of the ballpark. They just did a fantastic job. I can't say enough about their due diligence and the professionalism that they have displayed. They've brought credit to not only this agency, but themselves, and I'm proud to be their supervisor.
Good morning. I would be remiss if I didn't start off by first and foremost telling you that the reason the Burglary Apprehension team is so successful is because of the strength of our partnership with our municipal partners, both here in Broward County, Dade County, and West Palm Beach. But where the Burglary Apprehension team really strives organizationally with our partners is we excel in operating where the criminal element least expects us, and we create multiple dilemmas for them that they are not able to handle, thereby disrupting their operations. But what we really need assistance from the public here today is we want to educate the public and let them know that the cost of prevention with these situations of leaving your key fob inside a car is significantly less than the cost of potential consequence of losing your high-end automobile. Thank you.
It's more intel driven. You know, one of the things that we can gather by the arrest that we're making, the type of surveillance that's conducted, the repeat offenders, is that there's characteristics behind who is committing these type of crimes. And so we're really taking the intelligence that we have from every facet, from patrol to our SID to what we know within this unit, and then making sure that we are tracking and monitoring those individuals who are actually out there engaging in these activities. And we've used a multitude of different tools to do that, including our aviation unit, which does a phenomenal job giving us the ability to examine from above, under stealth, not be notified or playing notice to these criminals, and then able to successfully track them down without exposing the community to any unnecessary harm, such as a pursuit or something to that level. So it's a combination. It's intel driven, it's surveillance driven, it's technology driven, and we'll continue to move forward in those efforts. The reality of it is there's an old adage, 99% of the problems is created by 1% of the population, and that's really no different when we're talking about who we're dealing with who are committing these type of crimes. I think what's unique about how we have to engage and deal with mitigating this type of harm to the community is that it's vast. Suspects don't care about jurisdictions. I've never chased a suspect and he stopped and said, "Whoa, we're going into Tamarack, right? This isn't your jurisdiction." And so we have to be flexible enough to understand, as the sergeant said, that the partnerships are important with our municipals. Because things occur in Fort Lauderdale that finds itself rolling over into Deerfield. Things occur in Coral Springs that find itself rolling over into Tamarack. So relationships are important. There's been a multitude of connectivity between those who are committing these not only high-end auto thefts that's been described, but with burglaries. From the moment that this unit had been indoctrinated and brought into place, there has always been criminals that navigate from the southern part of Miami all the way up to Palm Beach. And surveillance activities, not only from this organization, but other organizations, had led from investigations that crossed 3 different counties. And I'm sure the Sarge would expand that we've even had cases that has gone outside of the Tri-County area, but the suspects were generated here in South Florida.
I wish I could tell you that these criminals were that much more sophisticated and this was a very high-tech operation, but they're simply looking for indicators of a vehicle being unlocked. If it's a high-end automobile, these side mirrors are often facing outward, and they will canvass neighborhoods looking for those telltale indicators. And once they see a vehicle that's a high-end vehicle in that condition, they'll enter the vehicle, they'll know it's unlocked, and from there they're just pushing the ignition if the key fob's left in and the car's gone, stolen at that point.
Another thing that I just want to make sure I put out into the community as an educational piece when it comes to these burglaries that are occurring and these auto thefts, there's a fallacy that exists that if you live in a gated community, that you don't have to take the same precautionary measures of removing property out of your vehicle, locking your doors, not leaving your key fob in there. dismiss that notion. These criminals are aware that the patrol efforts in gated communities, there's a distance in terms of the ability to get in and access and be expedient gives them and afford them time to execute the same type of crimes in non-gated communities. And so regardless if you're in a gated community, non-gated community, the practice is the same. Remove properties out of your vehicles, do the things that are important to mitigate this really, which becomes, you're inducing this type of crime pattern when you allow these type of items to be left in the car and then you entice individuals to go through breaking your car and then now they're taking your car.